Hey guys, what's going on? So we have basically moved now to quite a good area of movement on Tuesday, so I'm going to go through some very valuable points today. So the DXY is still looking like it can make its move upwards, and I am still anticipating the weight on that, but it looks like we've actually had our push up and our flagging area. So this is basically the floor that I was looking for, and now just kind of evaluating on this. I don't have Euro USD on watch, but if I did, I would now be looking for those 15-minute flags where essentially we might get something like that, and that would just be your catalyst to go up. So essentially that's what I'll be banking on, something like this. And if something like that doesn't happen to play out, by all means, I think that's going to be very positive for DXY. However, we can't cross off the possibility that we can drop off, so understand that as a possibility, but more so we're looking at this bigger move where we're going to be making our way to these highs. How long it takes us to get there, I can't really say. However, the one thing that I do know is that the market is shaping up to look very nice at the moment, so we just have to wait in anticipation for price to really reveal how it's going to play its cards. Looking at the JP225, we're still sitting in a very variable area. The nice thing about it on the daily is that we've really convincingly pushed up, and even though it's a bullish sort of pin bar in this area, it's still a good area to see price reject. We do have a mini double top in here as well. As we can see over here, we have this mini double top, and it's possible that price can drop off from here. Going on to the hourly time frame, we did see some sort of level of rejection in here. We had this sort of mini flagging area here now, but it's now looking like it's correcting and making its way back to this high. It's still one of them dangerous areas to be trading in. However, if something like this does shape up, I would not hesitate on it. We get something like that, and you get a flag in here, that could be enough to actually go into the low. So I would bear that in mind. I would look for a little bit more equal spacing, maybe clearer on the 5, but at the moment we're not really seeing that. I was looking for something more to just kind of project, come back down here, come up here, we see this nice little equal spacing here, so forth, and then boom, you drop, call it the cheese flag. That's basically it really. I mean, without that, there isn't really much for me to really bank on at the moment. We did kind of push away, correctively sort of move, and now we're just kind of pushing up. This could become something a little bit larger, but I wouldn't be inclined to take that. The reason why I'm analysing this so carefully is more so because if this does begin to drop off, we're going to see a massive side effect on other yen related pairs. So I think the real area you want to be focusing is on back down here, under this ray line. If we can push below here and start flagging, this is the sort of areas where you want to be taking opportunity. I think up here is still a little bit quite dangerous in terms of risk, so I would be more careful with these trades. We can sort of correctively squeeze again, kind of drop off here, and then have one more push up before we come down. There's a few variations. I wouldn't really get too scaled in the yen pairs at the moment. There's still some nice pairs around these. Going on to GBP New Zealand, no surprise, it has sold off. Was looking for price to just make its way up here, still can, and then drop off, but at the moment it's just kind of committing to the low now, and it looks like it's just going to melt away. So I'll wait for a future opportunity on this, but we're still scaled into a very valuable area. We have very nice candlestick confirmation here as well. Honestly, very good place to position yourselves. I think in terms of market, we're moving quite well. Honestly, from that daily, looking at it here, nice little flagging territory there. That would have been a nice reduced risk entry in this area, and then you'd probably run in around 1, but it turned into a monster for trade that. But yeah, so that's GBP New Zealand. I don't think at the moment there's a trade there, but be sharp, because even though we're looking at this bigger flag here, something like this could shape up, and then we would be too busy looking for the third touch up here when something would have shaped up down here, and then in reality we just have to clean off our charts. and just look at what we're seeing, and then that would be our flag. So I wouldn't get too sucked into, you know, this point here now. It's kind of done, we've moved away. Let's just wait and see if there's any more structure that develops, and then we can get involved in the short play. CAD Yen, the flag is a little bit larger than I anticipated at this point. You know, the impulse down, and then now the flag is just kind of, it's becoming one big corrective move. It's not one that I'm going to really opt in for. I think what I'm still looking for now is more so something like that. And if we can come back into that high and then reject, I can then evaluate for a position. But I think at this point, looking at something like this, there's the possibility it can sell off from here, but I don't think it's a trade I'm going to be willing to take. Looking at GBP Yen, I think GBP Yen definitely had, you know, this sort of interesting sort of level of structure here, and we've kind of dropped off. But this is just one big corrective move in my eyes, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be looking to get involved. I don't know. It's just we haven't really tapped into this high yet. We haven't really done much. Is this still a part of this big corrective move? You know, we're still in this very, you know, this exhaustive momentum. I would want to see a clear breakaway from all of that, drop off, flag down here and go. And that's really crystal clear if that happens, but at the moment I'm not seeing anything like that. Maybe we're beginning, but I'll wait in anticipation for that. Aussie Swiss I think is looking very nice. It's getting to the value area. This one I definitely will be keeping a very close eye on, because I think this will be a very nice trade to be getting involved in, especially in line with the higher time frame. You know, we can see we're dropping off, creating a nice flag in this area, and this will be a nice position to be getting in for the short. So Aussie Swiss I think definitely is number one for me at the moment. But looking at it there, it's looking pretty good. Just going to wait for that bull move, push up, and then catch that flag to the downside. So this is one that I was sizing up for a position. Aussie Yen, we've tapped into that inflection area. We've had a nice little retrace, not the full retrace that I was looking for, but we've had that. And then on the hourly, we can see that, you know, we started wicking in this area, and then we pushed down. It was moving aligned with the JP225, and then this was becoming more for flagging territory. So in terms of a reduced risk entry, this wouldn't be too bad. So you could set this now and just wait for this to play out, or you could try to get into a position up here a little bit more aggressive and tight, and I think that might be a little bit of a better play. But yeah, so all in all, I think that would really be the gameplay for this. The flag is very close to this. It's kind of a correction into a correction as well, but looking at it on the hourly, it definitely has some very good supporting structure and looks pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised though if for any reason we see price kind of just, you know, aggressively push up and then come back down and then create this sort of formation. So I would also keep that on board as well. I wouldn't just look at that flag as itself, but understand that we can create something a little bit more in depth. We are coming into this though, it is looking pretty good. Could be an entry there. I would personally opt in for the reduced risk just because of how corrective it is. We haven't just had one clear impulse and a tight flag. It is quite big, but there is equal spacing in there, and it does have some good sort of opportunity to be getting involved. Looking at New Zealand CAD as well, I think New Zealand CAD is still a little bit premature. Didn't really tap into that low yet, so I'm still going to wait for it to drop off before we look for the long. It's nice that it's correcting in this area because we are creating some sort of ending structure. So this could actually give us an indication that we might just tap into this and they have that aggressive push up that we were looking for. So I think that's definitely one to stay sharp for as well. Euro GBP, honestly, that was the trade there. After we had this, the trade's already played out, and now you probably would be out of the position around about here. So if you did get involved in this, yeah, you know what, like, not really my sort of position, so I wouldn't have got involved in that personally, but still looking at it to go to that low. USD Yen, not yet there, still waiting for this to develop, but it doesn't look so much. It could just be playing off the bat of this, and we could be selling off that. but more than likely I'm going to wait for this value area to be tapped into. Can we develop some ending structure? Can we impulsively move there? We'll have to wait and see. EuroCAD for one is looking sharp. Honestly, very, very nice position here. We had some nice flags on the way down. So if we look at it quickly on the 4 hour, we can see that there was this, on the 1 hour, we have this level of expanding here. And as we moved, we tapped into this inflection area and then started to reject, which is easy to see on the 4 hour. And then we had that evening star formation. At that point there, we could see that on the lower time frames, we started creating continuation over here, and this one is obviously just in the meltdown phase now. So it doesn't look like we're going to be coming up and tapping into this anytime soon, but there was definitely opportunity in here, and there was a position I was able to take over here for 3.4%. It was a little bit more refined here on 5 minute, and it was more so in line with this one. So we had this position over here, which was a missed position, but I wouldn't have taken it because it is over here. But as we cleared this low here, that's when I was looking for any sort of flags under it. When we cleared that, we had this scoop, 2 tops, 2 bottoms, and then I was more than happy to get involved. I would have taken a reduced risk, but at this point there was more than enough to protect myself, so I took a 10 pip, and then I kind of just got out of the market over here. Perhaps it could have been a little bit more less aggressive, but I decided to be aggressive at this point just because this isn't the cleanest of structures, but definitely in terms of just a short-term position, there was some profit in there to be taken. Euro Aussie, yeah, just mismanagement for me. Definitely was one that I could have just been a little bit less aggressive with. So took the flag in over here, came out for about 3.28, but definitely missed out on around about an 8% position, so that's a little bit of a lesson for me. I think sometimes you just have to ask yourself, you know, where are you actually targeting? Because I think I got a bit excited with the profit and I closed it, so that's my own lesson there. There was these small inflection points that I was just kind of letting dwell, but this was the overall area of interest. And took the flag, we pushed off, and there was opportunities, plenty of opportunities. There was this trade as well that I took and then I closed, so I took a short-term 2% here as well. I believe I took it a little bit later, probably around back there. I was able to mitigate the risk over here, and I think I closed the position roughly around about here, and then, you know, it did correct to make its way up, and then it dropped off again. But even so, you know, it's phenomenal how we can see these structures and take advantage of them at the end of the day. You know, you could have taken a trade here, could have taken this trade over here as well. You know, there's just abundance, and it's been good. You know, and kind of just reflecting on this week as well, you know, having a little bit extra on there hasn't really overdone it for me. I've been able to actually cope with it, which is really nice. And it's been quite enjoyable to have a little bit more, just because there's an abundance of stuff, but I wouldn't always put more on. It's only because that opportunity has kind of presented itself over the SMB, and I was able to cope with both. It's not always the case though. Sometimes too much can be too much and really affect your portfolio. So yeah, essentially now with GBP USD, I am waiting for this larger flag to develop. If it does develop and we get this, we correct, we go up here, maybe we hit the override, who knows. And then we'll just have to wait and see how this plays out. If we can get a trade in there, that would be great. And then we have Aussie US dollar. Aussie US dollar didn't quite give me an entry. We did see this as the floor sort of area, but we had a push up. We had this flag. I wasn't too convinced. I thought maybe we might trade into this and then tap into that and just drop off. So I kind of wanted to leave it, and I was going to wait for price to come back down here, create this, and then go. Didn't quite get that. Create this very tight, nice flag as well, and then boom, shot up. So very nice opportunities there across the board with Aussie related pairs. It looks like Aussie is moving aggressively onto the upside across the board with a few pairs, so I'd stay very sharp with that. No surprise at all. And yeah, and then EJ's not really got anything on board for me at the moment. I'm still waiting for price to kind of just develop, this is just evolving. So I'll leave that trend line out. Perhaps maybe this will drop off a little bit more. We'll create a floor in this area here, will drop and then come back up, and maybe that will be the gameplay. Who knows? I think it just needs a bit of time to materialize, but once it has done, we'll see the cards. And then last but not least, we have USD ZAR. USD ZAR is potentially shaping up for a nice trade. I'm seeing this as the level of interest now, and basically I just want to see what happens if this can come here, come back down, create two bombs, come back up, and then we sell off, and then this becomes its own little section. If that happens, that's definitely a go-to trade. I think, you know, I wouldn't hesitate on that at all. Looking at how the DXY is moving, though, it is moving upwards with progression at the moment, and we might see it continue in that nature, and this might just keep going up. But even so, if we get this structure built, you know, there's no reason not to take it. However, if we do start aggressively moving up, then we just have to take a message from the market. And that's basically it for this week. So not really much else to kind of report on. I think the ones that stay sharp for really and truly is Aussie Swiss for sure, GBP New Zealand absolutely as well, Aussie Yen possibly, New Zealand CAD as well, and Euro CAD is just going beast, honestly, absolute beast. Anyway, we're good for the week, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.